Hey, first, y'all, I want to shout out to Maverick Approach. I'm gonna say this. I was looking at he did this podcast with Tariq Nasheed on YouTube, and I saw this on X, and I just wanted to review this because Tariq Nasheed has always been a foundational black person, foundational black, pro-black person, kind of like black historian. I'm gonna say on that, but not as worse as Dr. Umar. But y'all, I want y'all to listen to what he was talking about on this podcast. As a black man referring to these black topics that they want to hypnotize the black people on, and how he comes just totally different on there on how all the black people are being deceived. So listen to this. We're not doing the whole thing. It's but I just want y'all to hear what y'all was talking about on this. It's really was like
black trends
right.
and all that. Like, wait, hold up.
Hell? Yeah, we're like, we're on the grassroots for like confused. Like, what's that about? Who are these people talking about all this other stuff? They would go out there on the bodies of a dead black man and then go out there and change it up. And it would become something totally different. They start talking about immigrants and fighting for immigrant rights, and then it became something else. Then it became very exploitive.
Right.
So we started looking and seeing who was doing this stuff. And a lot of this was coming from a lot of these left-wing think tanks that was putting a lot of this information out here, and this misinformation and redirection. Also, another thing that was happening at some of these grassroots protests, we would show up and there would be like a stack of bricks somewhere.
George Soros.
Yeah.
Like, who's funding this? Like, you have these stack of bricks, and then you got these people like, let's start damaging. It's like, well, hold up, wait, this isn't what we're doing. And then if you look into Black Lives, the leaders, so-called, these people are buying multi-million-dollar homes, and like, who put you up to this?
And then we would see people who were undercover cops throwing Molotov cocktails at buildings.
Yeah.
And that was a whole finesse too, because the buildings and things were already insured.
Right.
So they were trying to redirect people to do property damage so that people wouldn't go out there and start harming people. That's what they didn't want. They didn't want people to go out there and start running up in folks' homes.
Right.
So what they would do, they would have parked police cars would just be right there.
Yep.
And it was always an old police car. I want y'all to
It
go back and
was.
look at some of the
That's true. I seen it. I was out there.
Yeah. There'd be these old police cars. So people attacking the old police cars. So they're taking their frustration out on this property that's already insured. So now you're not going to go up in somebody's house and snatch them up. So they said, we got to let these Negroes get that energy out. So that was real controlled opposition. It was real heavy, man.
And then get those photo ops and everything else.
And then I want you to touch on this. A lot of the stuff that was going on online, you had all of these influencers that were phony online, and they were doing that like a decade or so ago.
Right.
They would get these people that they would pay, they would get these troll accounts, they would get these sock puppet accounts, and tell people, hey, we're going to turn up at Walmart on this street tomorrow. And, they had already set everything up. The place is already insured. The police is already out there. So they would do all of this type of stuff. And now this whole AI thing, they got AI influencers from what I understand. Have you touched on that?
Yeah.
What's that about now?
Man, because, so this is what's happening. So Meta just unleashed plans to have AI-generated users. And there's this thing called the dead internet theory. Have you heard of that?
I heard about that.
So the dead internet theory essentially is most of the internet. This theory says this internet that we use every day, Facebook, social media at large, that most of it is bot generated and AI comments and everything else. And I've experienced it.
Me too.
I'll bring receipts to a certain topic, and then you'll just have this random account that has 50 followers, 30 followers, and then sometimes they don't even have a picture or anything, and they'll just be contrary all the time, and then just try to like get you off your square. And I'm like, and it'll be a lot of them, right? So this is what's happening now, because it's like, okay, is the dead internet theory, is it a theory now? Because Meta is rolling out these AI generated, bot accounts that's going to be commenting, that's going to be sharing content, and now they have even an agenda. They have like the first one I saw was a black lady that was queer and all that stuff. It's like, wait, hold up. It's like, wait, what is that? Like, how is AI gay now? Like, this is like we and it's an agenda. So it's like, okay, where is this coming from? And I feel like that's been going on for a long time. What do you think?
It's been going on. During the election, this last election, part of the agenda was to get black people to go along with the Democrat program.
Yep.
That was a big thing. So whenever a lot of us on the grassroots were on places like Twitter asking questions about what are the Democrats going to actually do for the black community, we would get flooded with all of these accounts, very contrary, just like you were saying, shut up, y'all just shut up and vote, y'all just hate the black woman, y'all just don't want to see a black woman.
my
People
God.
that's so ignorant.
Thousands of hits like that. I said, watch, after November 5th, them bots are going to go away.
Yeah.
Right after the election, when Kamala lost, every one of those accounts disappeared.
They did.
Wow.
They just disappeared
They
overnight.
did.
Wow.
So that showed that there was an agenda. Somebody was pushing it.
Yeah, of course. And that's the thing
Ridiculous.
with Kamala raising over $1 billion. You don't think she had some type of social media team with a bot
still
farm
lost.
going out trying to change public opinion, all that stuff? Like, I don't know if you've seen my video, but I did a piece on Kamala talking about where she did the debate with Trump. And I was like, man, them earrings look funny.
Yeah.
And everybody was,
yeah.
and that blew up, and that caught wind, and they featured me on Forbes, MSN, New York Post, and they did a whole hit piece on me saying, oh yeah, this conspiracy theorist is talking about her earrings and everything else, and there was this earrings called Nova earrings where they're earring earphones, and they look exactly alike the pair she had, and get this. Every time she wears those specific earrings, she has a speaking engagement. Interesting. So any other photo ops, I don't see them. And I've done research on it. I'm like, yo, she wore these like 10 times. And I'm like, okay, there were people were saying there were Tiffany earrings. I'm like, you don't think the government can construct some earphones that look like Tiffany earrings?
Of course.
Right? So she was sounding like
Please.
Obama.
Right, and when she's not wearing those earrings, she can barely form a cohesive
Please,
sentence. That
Right.
woman
exactly.
is horrible at speaking.
Yes.
And she fumbles.
Clueless.
Any type of pushback you give her, she falls apart.
Yep.
So yeah, somebody was clearly, allegedly in her ear, coaching her on what to say.
Did you see there was something that just came out the other day where she was saying the Pledge of Allegiance in Congress, and she messed up the Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, I didn't
She
see
didn't
that.
even
Stop
know
it.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so like
You not know the pledge.
so this is what we're dealing with, and I'm so glad, like, man, we dodged a bullet with that one.
Yes, we did. And look, they don't want Trump in, man.
Yeah.
The assassination attempts on that guy.
You know?
I'm like, what does Trump know, or what is Trump trying to
Exactly.
stop? These
Exactly.
people
That
are
we
really
don't
on
know.
Trump's bumper. Like
Yeah.
out here, at the Trump Hotel, they got it barricaded off because of that
Man.
that Cybertruck incident that happened.
Right. What do you think that was?
That sounds like somebody, man. I'm gonna put my tinfoil kufi on, man.
Okay.
A lot of people are saying the deep state is trying to get at Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to let him know, hey, man, you don't mess up what we got going on.
Right.
And I don't want to get into some of the jab stuff because your pages get
Yeah, they getting taken down,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, I got you. They went back and took some of my old videos down where I'm just lightweight mentioning some of that stuff.
Right, yeah.
But there's certain medical things that are popping back up now. I'll say that.
Right.
Now that Trump is the president-elect.
Yeah.
and
'Cause the
Trump
medical
is
thing was
against some of
big.
that medical stuff. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some things Trump has going on that they want stopped. Somebody wants stopped, and there's
Yeah.
some very powerful people trying to stop it. And I'm not a MAGA guy at all. There were people, because I wasn't a supporter of Kamala, they were like, well, you, Tariq, is MAGA. I'm not MAGA. I voted for the couch in the last election. I'm an agenda-based voter.
Right.
And my agenda was something tangible for foundational Black Americans.
Right.
And it's interesting, the fact that we had a delineation movement, and we were talking about getting reparations, because we had two huge rallies in Washington, D.C. And so we let people know reparations was on the menu for this election.
Right.
Because we want a tangible agenda, they try to frame us as some type of extremist. They try to frame us as low-key right-wingers. We're not.
Like we hate black women.
Right, we hate black women. All that
We hate, pretty much everything that what they stand for. But what a lot of people don't know is the Democratic Party actually created the KKK.
Yes, he did.
So
Yes, he did.
look at the Klan back in 1924. The Democratic Convention, there's men in white hoods outside the convention.
Of the Democratic
And
Convention.
that's my thing with the Democrats. They try to put all the racism on the right wingers. Like when they did the Democratic National Convention for the last Kamala Harris election, they had Al Sharpton out there with the Central Park Five.
Right.
And they were like, yes, Donald Trump put out an ad against these young brothers, And the thing is, the Central Park Five, they were railroaded by the Democrats. I want everybody to remember
The
that.
judge?
The judge was a Democrat. The prosecutor was a Democrat.
The
The
DA?
mayor was a Democrat. The DA was a Democrat. It was a Democrat conspiracy, ladies and gentlemen. They were burying those brothers.
Right.
So I really wish people not let the Democrats get away with that little Jedi mind trick where they put all the racism off on the Republicans.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. Like, back then, I mean, even Donald Trump was a Democrat.
A Democrat. He was a Democrat at the time.
So they were rocking with him then, and then all of a sudden now, you know, after, as soon as he wanted to become president, everybody hated him, right?
Yep.
But before, he was on Fresh Prince, he was on
Oprah.
He was like, you know, the guy they making rap songs about him, and then all of a sudden we all hate him. It's interesting, but nobody does the research. It's like, well, he's the one that sent the plane for Nelson Mandela when he wanted to do his U.S. tour. Nobody from the U.S. wanted to mess with Nelson Mandela at all. He was like, hey, look, I got you and your people. The same thing we did for historically black colleges. He brought back a bill that Congress killed to give them $1 billion a year.
Yeah.
And I asked people, I'm like, okay, remove your feelings.
Yeah.
Let's talk politics.
Yeah.
What policies and what laws did Trump put in place against black people or any other race that could, you know, as far as like, could be deemed racist?
Right.
They can't come up with
give
nothing.
it up. They'll start talking about things he did when he was not in office. I'm like, okay, those are personal things, but you got to be very truthful. Trump did not put any policies together that specifically harmed black people. Now, Biden did.
Yeah.
You know, Biden and Kamala, when she was out in California, she was doing things that harmed black people specifically.
Yes.
Black men and women. So
She tried to, defame Michael Jackson.
yeah.
When that whole thing was going on, and she was, the DA at the time, and she was saying like, oh yeah, we gotta look into this, and because it looks like that, he's guilty, and he wasn't even, convicted or anything, and like, mind you, the FBI raided his house and everything, and they didn't find anything.
Nothing.
And she was already, on the offense.
Oh yeah. And the Democrats, they have done a lot of stuff to black people that we, for some reason, overlook because they come around every 4 years and act nice and bring a couple of pies
Exactly.
to the
black
church.
people.
And that's not good
Exactly.
enough, man. Out in California, the agenda for the schools are horrible.
Yeah.
Black kids are being targeted out there in California. Black people who are business people are being targeted. Their permits are getting revoked. They're not getting the right permits they're supposed to get. They're getting flooded by immigrant groups that are hostile to them. We're not getting any hate crime bills to protect us like these other groups are.
Right.
That's all orchestrated by the Democrats.
Yeah.
So we have to put their feet to the fire.
Yeah, I mean, they had bills for, the Asian hate.
Yeah.
And then the gays with Obama and everything else. It's like they put everything else in front of it. And that's what my whole thing is. It's like when you really strip it all down, you're like, okay, who is really doing what? Like, you got to be like, okay, they're saying that, like you said, the conservatives or the right wing or whomever on the Republican side is racist. But when you really look at the facts, it's like, wait, hold up. They're not really, like, for one, putting anything tangibly in place for us. And they always, and that's another thing, they always cling on to stuff like Black History Month.
Right.
But here's the thing, I think Black History Month is bullshit because Black history is American history.
Yes, it is.
And when they try to separate that's a tactic that they
Put
use.
it in 1 month.
And I always have this argument with people, and they're like, well, how could you say that? It's like, okay, well, ask any other race of people
Oops, my bad, y'all.
if they want their history marginalized to the shortest month of the year.
Right.
They would say no.
Right.
I mean, does it make sense? Because, I mean, a lot of Black Americans invented things that we use today.
Yes, we do.
GPS. We're talking about elevators. We're talking about
doorknobs.
The mailbox.
Is the foundation of Black American.
Yeah.
Home security systems, refrigerated trucks. I mean,
Yep,
we've
the
done
toilet.
everything culturally great about America. That comes from foundation of Black Americans. Our
Doorknob.
footprint is all on that stuff.
the video games.
Right,
The first
right.
cartridge that was created even before Atari.
Computer
Really?
chips.
Yeah. So this is like American history. So it's like they try to separate
So
the
it's really
two
a
and give us
shot
the
in the
shortest
face.
month and be like, okay, be happy with that, and then let's never talk about this ever again.
And this is why we're normalizing foundational Black American culture. That's why there's such a major delineation movement where we're not denigrating people, because that's another thing. We're recognizing our foundational Black American lineage,
Right.
and then people try to equate that into denigrating others. Other people can recognize their history and celebrate it, and we'll pop our collar to it. Hey, man, you Caribbean, shout out. You Puerto Rican, hey, shout out to
Right.
you. The minute we say, hey, but shout out to foundational Black Americans. Oh, why y'all niggas so divisive? Oh, why y'all hate us? Y'all hate everybody. We supposed to be together. Well, no, we're supposed to be invisible, according to you,
Right.
because we want to put everything under one big Negro, as I say, when
Right.
it's convenient.
Right.
But everybody wants to separate from us and delineate when it's something positive for their community. So we're saying, hey, we as foundational Black Americans, we're just recognizing our lineage and the uniqueness in who we are, and it's not denigrating anybody.
Right. I mean, you should.
And
So is that how they feel about Black History Month? Is that what he said?
right,
Pretty
so
much?
it's really Black History Month is a slap in the face. So it's basically, it's like you try to tie it all and just, hey yo, we give y'all a month, but black people are in the weaving and the fabric of the building of this country. It's just all through the fabric of the build of the country, and not just people just focus on just we're building from being slaves. I'm talking invention, just all the ideas and stuff like that. So so it's really a slap in the face for Black people, and then they use Black people to manipulate you. They don't use white people to manipulate Black people. They use Black people to manipulate Black people. That's the only way you get Black people, and you entertain them, make them feel like you my brother, my sister, and then you bury me on the background.
And they don't talk about slavery from a world trade perspective and how every culture, every race has been enslaved. They don't talk about that.
But that's why
what
Tariq
really
didn't
gets
get it. He didn't go into it because it's about he's talking about foundation and from what Black people really have done for this country, not really from the slave standpoint. Everybody should be aware, and if you're ignorant to the world view of slavery, you shouldn't be talking about it. But you shouldn't be talking about slavery in general if you leave out the rest of the planet.
Yeah, you blurring, mate.
Oh, there we go.
Well, on that note, that was a good conversation, though. Yeah, I like a lot of the points that he was saying. I can, exactly. And it's interesting how, the Democratic Party will continue to hover over these non-truths, and people still want to continue to believe the lies. That's what I
don't support the racist party. That's
that.
We don't support the racist party, which is the Democratic Party. That's not the party for the Black. That's the party that likes to use Black and then run you over. So anyway, all right, y'all.
All right.
This is the most thrivingest. This is gonna be the most thrivingest 4 years of your life. You better get in on it.
Be smart. Make good decisions for your household. Learn some things. Learn about the policies and the advantages that are going to be, susceptible to you if you qualify for certain things. And just the mere fact that he's having content creators to be able to come to the White House to be able to get up front, get the information. It's like, come on, he wants real people there, not people with hidden agendas and don't want to report the facts.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Smash that like button.
Love you guys. See you in the next video.